Good morning, children. Today we are going to start lesson 4 geography, that is major landforms. Children, this is a very interesting chapter, and in this chapter we will study regarding the various landforms on the earth's surface and also study how they are formed, and in the formation of different kinds of landforms the role of endogenic forces and exogenic forces are very important. So, children, we will also study the different landforms, that is, the elevation of the earth, plateaus, and weathering, erosion. There are so many topics pointed out, mentioned here in the chapter. So, children, you know that the exogenic or external forces carry out their work in two ways. We also know about weathering and erosion. You have already studied this in your science textbook, that the role of weathering is very important. You know, children, weathering involves disintegration and decomposition of rocks. We also know that weathering, you can say, children, weathering is described as the breaking down of rocks and minerals on the earth. Okay, children. So, a number of factors are also important. There are a number of agents behind such phenomena, such as heat, cold, frost, action, plants, animals, and chemical reactions help in weathering. And the process does not involve the movement of broken rock materials. On the other hand, children, weathering is generally followed by erosion. What is erosion, children? You have already studied this. It is a process by which the broken rock materials are removed from one place to another and it is deposited elsewhere. So, children, a number of agents are also responsible for this phenomena. For example, running water, sea waves, moving ice, and wind. The transported materials are deposited at different places. Thus, different landforms are created by the agents of erosion and deposition. Children, see here the picture of weathering and erosion. So, children, the process of weathering involves breaking up of rocks, and the erosional work that is related to the broken rocks materials removed from one place to another and then it is deposited elsewhere. Okay, children. So here, till here we have read that the different natural factors, there are a number of factors which play a very important role. They are, in fact, agents, and they play a very important role in the process of both weathering and erosion. Now, children, you can see the picture. You can see the picture here, and our next topic is work of a children. So you can see in your textbook work of a river. Children, we know that the role of river is very important and many small streams join together to form a river. Okay, children. So, children, we should also know that the place from where the river originates is called the source, and from here the river moves down the slope in a valley. Generally, the river falls vertically from higher level to the low level, and it falls down, and then gradually it takes a huge form, and uh, it widens, and then the area from where the river joins another water body is called the mouth. Okay, children. Basically, The river has three stages. So we'll study about that later on. But before that, we must know that the area drained by the river and its tributary is called the river basin. Okay, children. The running water in the river carries out its work in three ways. First, it erodes the rocks over it flows. Second, it transports the eroded materials. And third, it deposits the material which it has transported. Okay, children. All three ways are very important. You have to understand this properly. First is the work, the river erodes the rocks from where it flows. Means this is the place the river flows down vertically. Then, when it takes a huge form, or when it forms, when it flows and flows in a V over a V-shaped valley, it transports the eroded material. And when the river flows on plains and it takes a very wide form. Okay, so here it deposits the material which it has transported. So children, the erosional work of the river results in the widening and deepening of the river valley. And here such a valley is called a V-shaped valley. You can see this V-shaped valley in page number 125. Okay, children. So in hilly areas, we can see the river is flowing through V-shaped valley. The river moves swiftly and hurriedly. This is the stage the river comes down swiftly and hurriedly. Thus, you can see in page number 126 in your textbook. Here you can see the three stages of the river. The first stage is youth stage, the second is mature stage, and the third is old stage. So children, the river flows through these three stages. This is very important, and we know that the river falls almost vertically down a steep valley. And here we can see waterfall. There are a number of waterfalls, famous waterfalls of our country and the world. Particularly in our country, we can um, I can tell you the Jog and Gersopa falls on the Saravati river in Karnataka. This is the one of the highest waterfall in India. And besides this, the other waterfalls like Salto Angel Falls of Venezuela in South America, and the Niagara Falls in North America, and the Victoria Falls in Africa, they are also very famous. Okay, children. So here the main thing that is to be mentioned is that in this stage um, the hydroelectricity is generated. Why? Because the river falls from very high stage and it forms a waterfall. So hydroelectricity is generated in waterfall, and the river flows very swiftly and hurriedly. Children, this is the first stage of the river. Now, children, you can see the second stage. The second stage. In the second stage of the river is no longer swift. It flows gently. The floor of the river valley widens due to continuous erosion along its banks. The river, particularly in this stage, the river flows in the plain area, and it forms different types of loops and bends. So these are called meanders. Children, here you can see the picture of meander. And here the river erodes, transports, and deposits the sediments. And after some time, the river, in due course of time, the river is able to cut the strip of land between the two loops and takes a straight course. The circular loop that is left behind, that is completely cut off from the main channel, and then it forms an oxbow lake. Children, you can see here, the children, you can see oxbow lake where the old stage of the river is given. Okay, children. So you can see the difference between meanders and oxbow lake. Okay, children. So this is the second stage where I have already explained to you. And here the river is flowing in the plain area. And here the quartz materials are deposited along the banks of the river. Thus, long ridges of low height are formed along the banks, and these are called natural levees. So, when the river reaches its mouth, this is the third stage or old stage. When the river is about to finish its journey, it reaches its mouth, it carries a large volume of water and alluvium. The excess load is deposited as sandbars in the wide river channel. This divides the main channel into several channels, which are called distributaries. Means here the river divides into several channels. Okay, children. So when the river is divided into several channels, they are called distributaries. Now, in this stage, we can see here the triangular shaped land is formed between the distributaries due to deposition of sediments, and this is called a delta. Children, delta was first used by the Greek historian Herodotus because of its triangular shape and triangular depositional land on the mouth of the river Nile. So the delta in India, the delta formed by the Ganga and the Brahmaputra is the largest delta in the world. Okay, children, in this session, I'm I have described the three stages of the river. You must take a reading of this chapter till here, and in the next session, we'll start different topics. Till then, goodbye.